This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Teen shot dead, motorcycle delivery men injured in St. James attack. 2 motorcycle delivery men remain hospitalized in serious condition following a deadly shooting in Flanker, St. James last night. One is 22 years old of Paradise, Norwood, and the other is 23 years old of a Farm Heights address, both in St. James. 19-year-old Damian Smith of a Flanker address succumbed to the gunshot injuries he received during the attack. The police say shortly after 10 p.m., the 3 men were walking along a section of Seaview Drive in Flanker when they were ambushed by a group of gunmen. The gunmen opened fire, hitting all 3 victims, then escaped on foot. The Coral Gardens police were summoned and the wounded men transported to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where Smith was pronounced dead. Clarendon construction worker charged with rape of 14-year-old. 46-year-old Harold Gordon, otherwise called Sugar Marvin or Palvin, a construction worker of a Douglas Drive address in Maypen, Clarendon, was arrested and charged with rape in relation to an incident that occurred on Monday, March 1 this year. Reports are that a 14-year-old girl went to her stepfather's house when Gordon took her inside the house and had sexual intercourse with her, which resulted in her being pregnant. A report was made to the police, an investigation carried out, and Gordon was arrested. Following a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney, Gordon was charged, the police said. Brown Burke elected the PNP chairman, first woman to hold the party post. Opposition spokesman on education Dr. Angela Brown Burke is the new chairman of the opposition People's National Party. Brown Burke, the member of parliament for St. Andrews South Western, created history on Saturday when she turned back the challenge of acting chairman Horace Daly, in the process of becoming the first woman to be elected chairman of the 83-year-old party. It was a narrow victory, with a preliminary count showing Brown Burke receiving 146 votes to Daly's 120. It fell on Daly, who was installed as acting chairman in July after the resignation of Philip Polwell, to announce that his opponent had won. It is with great respect that I present to you the new chairman of the People's National Party, Comrade Angela Brown Burke, said Daly. The significance of the announcement was not lost on Brown Burke's supporters, who responded with cheers and the chant, "A woman time now." Having lost to Polwell last November in her first attempt to be elected PNP chairman, Brown Burke's first order of business will be to unify an increasingly divisive party that has suffered defeat in the last 2 general elections. Cult pastor's resurrection talk triggers nightmare for businessman. When Homer Gale heard that Kevin Smith, the controversial pastor for the Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries in St. James, died in a car crash last Monday, he was quick to admit that he was not one of the many individuals following up on the case. "It was not a matter that I was interested in," said Gale, who argued that he viewed it as just another one of the mysterious cases unfolding in the island of Jamaica. Gale said all of that would change on Thursday, a little over 3 days after the pastor died, and that was when people started spilling superstitious arguments that the pastor would resurrect on the 3rd day after his death. And then out of the blue, someone saw Gale, the businessman from St. Catherine, and said, "You know, you really look like the pastor." That was when things turned into a hellish nightmare for Gale, a businessman from St. Catherine. "I learned about this pastor Kevin Smith on Tuesday. I mean, I didn't take it for anything at first," said Gale. He said that the pastor died on Monday, but based on what was happening, people were saying the pastor would resurrect in 3 days, which was Thursday. Gale said when Thursday came, all hell popped loose. "All of a sudden, I started to get phone calls from people. I even started to get death threats from people saying I was the pastor," said a distraught Gale in an interview with the news. The situation even reached a point where Gale had considered getting security to travel around, but said he had not yet acted on the thought. "I just want to say to people out there, I am not Kevin Smith," said Gale. Embattled former JDF captain denies being a cult member and says he is an innocent man. I was not there or knew of any occurrences that were to happen, and I am not part of any cult. That's the word from embattled former Jamaica Defense Force JDF captain Omain Morgan. The JDF disclosed yesterday that Morgan, who's been linked to the controversial Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries, is no longer a member of the force. In a Facebook post this week, a day after his separation from the JDF took effect, Morgan stated that he will give his account in due time about the controversy. He then went on to lament the treatment he's received since stunning news emerged of 2 alleged human sacrifices at the ministry. Morgan wrote, "This entire situation, though tragic, truly reveals a lot for certain. Who are your friends and the nature of your fellow Jamaican citizen?" The former JDF captain went on to state that he still believes in God. He says, looking back, it was God that saved him on Saturday. Morgan went on to write, "I was not there or knew of any occurrences that were to happen on Sunday." He then stated, "Stay tuned," and vowed that the revelation will be televised. Morgan insisted that he's not guilty of wrongdoing and that he's been wrongfully accused. He also included several hashtags in his Facebook post. The hashtags stated, "Truly deceived," "Rumor mill is active," and "not part of any cult." The Facebook post has since been deleted. The former JDF soldier included a quote on the post which said, "Your character will outweigh any lie told about you. Those that know you, know you." That quotation remains on his social media account. Communication seen yesterday says the Defense Board has granted approval for Captain Morgan to retire his commission in the JDF. Morgan has been retired effective October 27, 2021. The JDF revealed in a statement that an investigation is underway and any further inquiries about Morgan should be directed to the police. Photographs recently emerged of Morgan in the presence of the late Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries leader Kevin Smith. Morgan's move to proclaim his innocence comes as some law enforcement sources say they are investigating word that he sometimes functioned as an aide-de-camp for the controversial religious leader. Smith died on Monday following a motor vehicle crash. The Pathways Ministries leader died hours before he was scheduled to face criminal charges. The charges were in connection with the alleged sacrificial killings at a branch of Smith's ministry on Albion Road in Montego Bay, St. James. The killings have attracted national and international outrage. Kevin Smith feared for his life, says attorney. Defense attorney Valerie Nita Robertson, who represented controversial clergyman Kevin O. Smith, claimed that her client told her that members of the security forces were going to kill him. Yes, he said they were going to kill him, but I cannot say which police told him so. He could not recognize any of the police to say they were from Montego Bay, she said. Smith, 39, died in a car crash on Monday as he was being transported by the police to Kingston from Montego Bay to be charged in connection with the murder of 2 congregants during a supposed religious ritual at his church. Nita Robertson also said that her client told her that he was assaulted by several members of the security forces upon his arrest. She said that he had bruises on his body when she went to see him at the police station. Smith attained notoriety 2 weeks ago after 2 persons were killed in his church in what is alleged to be acts of human sacrifices. The bizarre church service was interrupted by policemen who stormed the sanctuary, having been informed about the happenings by a member who escaped. A 3rd person was shot and killed by the cops during what the lawmen said was a shootout. The pastor and the 39 other worshippers were arrested by the police for various breaches of the law. Nita Robertson said that her client claimed to have been abused by lawmen as they led him away from the Norwood-based Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries. He was handcuffed, his clothes, I think he was in the gown that he would baptize people into, were taken off, and he was kicked down the steps to the outside, she told the news. Since Smith's bizarre death in Monday's car crash, information has been put in the public domain, which indicated that he had a checkered past. Paula Llewellyn, the director of public prosecution, said that Smith was convicted in Canada in 2007 for the sexual assault of a 21-year-old man. It was not immediately clear whether he was deported from Canada, but in a letter to Llewellyn on Wednesday, Nita Robertson requested that she be provided with documents supporting the DPP's statement on Smith's conviction. She also questioned the relevance of the information, considering that Smith was due to face charges of murder, illegal possession of firearm, and wounding with intent. The man is dead and you're still trying to nasty him up? The attorney questioned. It is deeply concerning that in circumstances in which Dr. Kevin Smith has not been charged for any offenses and is now deceased, that the director should have publicly disseminated material that is damaging to his memory and which he is unable to deny, Nita Robertson wrote. The long-standing attorney has also hit back on comments that she was only interested in representing Smith because of money. They can't say anything that don't affect me. I run a private practice, so I make money independently. You can like it or don't like it, but it is neither here nor there. When the big businessman put on 300 and 400% on him goods and you have to buy it, it can upset me, but it's his business, she said. So who will represent Kevin Smith? Any lawyer could have represented him. It just happens to be me. A friend of his sisters who live in Canada, who knows me very well, called and say, Valerie, them a try to get a lawyer, but nobody no one touch it. Can you help? So I said yes, because me not in a law for popularity. 132 new COVID-19 cases. Westmoreland confirms another 10 deaths. The parish of Westmoreland has accounted for 10 of the 12 COVID-related deaths recorded by the Ministry of Health on Friday. Hanover and the Kingston and the St. Andrew each recorded 1 death. The death tally now stands at 2,229. In the meantime, there were 132 new cases yesterday, pushing the total to 88,907. The parish breakdown is as follows: Kingston and the St. Andrew 31, St. Catherine 38, St. Elizabeth 14, Clarendon 12, Portland 8, Westmoreland 7, Manchester 7, St. James 5, St. Mary 3, St. Thomas 2, Trelawney 1, and St. Anne 1. The ministry also reported that 296 COVID patients remain hospitalized. Of this number, 71 are moderately ill, 27 severely ill, and 10 critically ill. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.